name's Moira, and I am Hannah's friend and also a BSD prayer buddy. And I just wanted to share a few minutes with you just about how God's helped me throughout my life really, and through this pandemic. If I glance down, it's just because I'm just making sure I check my little notes so that I don't end up going over time or waffling of what's not important. So this is what when I've been praying, I just felt like this is what God would have me say really on here. And it's funny, whenever I feel pressed or encouraged to share something, I find soon after that I end up going through something that gives me, if you like, first-hand experience or a good reminder of, so I experience it firsthand before I go telling other people. And so the thing that I think he wanted me to share is about fact versus feeling. Now I know God gives us feelings and they're amazing things, but they aren't not there to rule over us. And I think, especially at times like this pandemic and all sorts of times in our life, we can all feel overwhelmed, and we can, because we can start to feel afraid, useless, powerless, angry, grieved, depressed, completely overwhelmed, demotivated. And really social media and the news don't really help us very much, do they? Because what do you trust? Well, I tell you what you trust. You trust God's word, because that's very reliable. Okay, so I need to look at the facts in a situation to keep it real and to stay rational. And I think God reminded me of when I used to only turn to him years ago. I became a Christian when I was 7 really, a very real experience, but drifted away about age 10 or 11 and found him again when I was 19 at a Billy Graham event, and we've been firm friends ever since, thankfully. And so it just reminded me of when I was younger, I used to only turn to him in points of crisis, of which I had many over a period of time, and I felt like I was just going from one crisis to the next, and then I'd be speaking to him again. But actually what he taught me was speak to him every day, tell him the lovely conversations, tell him the good things that are going on, tell him your hopes and dreams, your fears, but talk to him and don't just wait. He's not just there to fix, he's not just a problem solver. He loves you, he's the lover of your soul, he's interested in every detail of your life. And so that's what I've learned to do. I've learned to, and I don't say I speak to him every day because I'd be lying, but I try to certainly think of him every day. But I do try really hard, more and more, just to get that closeness and to to get myself in by myself, where I feel like I can just get into his presence, and it just gives you complete peace, doesn't it? Like you can't get anywhere else. And I think when we do that, when we learn to walk daily with him and align ourselves with what he says in his word, which I believe can be trusted, that's when we flourish, and when we grow and learn, and then we get to encourage others around us. And something else that it reminded me of when I was thinking about, what I'm going to say about, God's bigger than all your problems. And I remember sitting in 2014 on my sofa. I lived in Cumbria at the time, and there was a lot going on, and I think I was feeling a bit overwhelmed. And these words just came to me to remind me that God is bigger than any of our problems, feelings, hurts, pains, illnesses. And these words just came to mind when I was just sat quietly. Jesus doesn't bow down to problems, but when we bring those problems to the foot of the cross, in his name, his powerful, mighty name, those problems have to bow down to Jesus. And I just think, wow, that's pretty awesome, isn't it? That's an awesome truth, really. Okay, so my family and I have just been through a really difficult week with a family member, serious illness which could have been fatal. And most of our family are people of faith in God. And so we've learned to stand on God's word and keep focus on Him, especially when things are difficult. We're human, aren't we? So we've had tears and worries trying to cloud our thoughts. But you know, God rules and reigns over us, and He rules and reigns over all His children if we trust Him. And so we focused as a family on His goodness and mercy. And our family member is back home as of yesterday. Doctors amazed at a quick turnaround in how her infection markers have gone from really high to really low overnight. And we know the NHS is marvellous and God bless it. But we've learned the power of prayer and speaking God's word out over situations. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're a person who, you know, you might all be absolutely flying along fine, and that's wonderful. But if there's any of you students who sometimes just feel overwhelmed like I do sometimes, then here's my favourite verse to speak out, and speak out like you really believe it. And it's 2 Corinthians. I'm not going to read it all out because I'm thinking I might not have had time. But it's 2 Corinthians 10, verse 4 and 5. I'll say that again. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4 and 5. And I tell you, it absolutely works. It just brings you that peace, and stops. If you say it like you mean it, and you say it often when needed, I just think it just stops those awful thoughts coming in and clouding your whole perspective. Because what we need to keep in perspective is our God, who is mighty and full of love and grace. And the problems, see them in the distance, because our God is bigger than all of them. So that's really all I wanted to say. Just the fact is, our God's bigger. He really, really is. I am absolute testimony to that, and so are my family. I hope that you're all doing well. I hope that your walking is going well. Your 5k a day for 30 days, whoever's of you are doing that. And the Lord bless you all and keep you, and fill you all with His peace. And I'll maybe see you sometime. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye.